Hey everybody, it's Jen. It has been a hot minute since I've been on a live. I thought I would come on. I'm going to double check and see if this is working on Facebook because I have no idea if it is or not. Um, Let me see if I can find it. I guess if anybody's here, let me know that you're here and that you're live. Um, oh, it actually looks like I am. Okay, cool. So there's that one, and let's check the community. Okay, cool. It looks like it's working, guys. So, hey, hi, how is everybody doing? Like I said, it has been a hot minute since I've been on a live. So I thought I would just come in really quick and say hello. I know we have some new people in the group. And so I just wanted to introduce myself again and get kind of back on the horse, so to speak. So my name is Jennifer Lonberg. I am a spiritual life and business coach, and I am so excited to be working on some really fun things for Christmas for you guys. So I'm really excited to be talking about this too. But before I get ahead of myself here, let me back up. I offer spiritual life and business coaching, particularly for soul coaches. So anybody who has a spiritual life business, a spiritual coaching business, a spiritual healing business, readers, mediums. We have a whole variety of different spiritual teachers, leaders, and healers in our group. So, in the Embodied Grace community, if you're not already there on Facebook, I would encourage you to join that group. That Facebook group is really amazing, really supportive, and there's so many different things going on in the cosmos that it's kind of nice to just have a place to be able to come and chat. Really quick before I forget, I made a note. I want to make sure everybody knows if you're in the membership, the Ascension Club, we call it the Embodied Grace membership. The call this month is a different day because of the holidays. So it's on December 13th. So if you're in the membership, make a note of that. The other thing I wanted to just come on, first of all, to test everything, test the mic, test the camera, all of the things, because I had a glitch earlier trying to go live, and it's because my computer isn't updated right. So I'm trying to see how this is working. So if you guys are here, I'm trying to see if the comments are working. If somebody's on, drop a comment just so that I can see if this is working. Just because again, it's been a while since I've been on live and I just want to see how everything's working. Um, Okay, so what I actually wanted to come on today, I actually pulled a card. So we're going to be talking about an angel card that came up. But before I forget, one of the things that I was in a group earlier, and it was so fun because she's like, "What's your favorite thing about Christmas?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love this. My favorite thing about Christmas is always giving the gifts, right?" And I know I've seen a couple different places on Facebook where people are talking about this. They're talking about the gifts that they're getting, the gifts that they're making. We even talked about it in Embodied Grace community. So that was really fun, just talking about what you have going on, what creative things you're making for the holidays. And I had an idea that I did this a few years ago, but it's been a while since I've done this. And when I did it last time, it was just for my members. So a couple of years ago, I did the 12 days of Christmas, and I gave a gift every day of the 12 days. So just so you know, 12 days of Christmas is actually the 26th through the 6th. So it's after Christmas. Leading up to is Advent, right? So right now we're in Advent calendars, counting down to the days of Christmas. Then there's the 12 days of Christmas, which comes after. And I'm having a blast researching the history of the 12 days, as well as just creating the content, right? So this time I've decided instead of just for my membership, it's for everyone. So if you're on my email list, you will get 12 gifts for the 12 days of Christmas, and they are phenomenal. You guys, like, I'm pulling out all kinds of really good stuff and really good content around abundance, because one of the things that my guides said, if you haven't seen the last channeled message, definitely go back. It was so powerful. I recorded just an audio clip. So if you want to listen to that, or if you want to go to Facebook and actually see it printed, it's a really powerful message from the celestials. This time, particularly the Lyrans that came through, and it's all about abundance. So definitely a powerful message. And I felt like I just needed to build on that. So I'm going to be doing 12 days of Christmas. It's going to be gifts for anyone on my email list. And you guys, like, even just getting them already, I was looking at the list and I'm like, oh my God, this stuff is just amazing. So that being said, get on my email list if you're not on the email list. Now, That being said, the last few days has been really crazy energy. I've got to look and see. Today is Tuesday, December 6th. The last couple days, I've had so many messages, so many people going, I don't know what's going on. What is this energy coming from? And we've felt this over the years, right? So, one of the things we talk about a lot in the membership as well as in the Embodied Grace community is the frequency and the energy. Okay, so the energy has been coming in waves, and it's been random. It doesn't seem like it makes sense. Last night was one of those nights. It literally, for me, it was every hour on the hour I was waking up. I just couldn't quite get into a restful sleep. So if you're feeling that, know that you're not alone. Know that the best thing you can do is just nurture yourself through it, right? So give yourself that the time that you need. If you have to work, then plan on, 15 minutes after you get home to just sit, right? If you need that extra rest. Lots of water. I always say this, water, minerals, so, so important because that's how we support our physical body. Oh, yay, somebody finally said hi. Okay, so I know the comments are working. Thank you for that. So at least the Facebook comments are working. If you guys are watching me somewhere else, definitely comment. I tried to go on YouTube as well just to see, again, testing out all of this stuff. So, hey, thank you for saying hi, Shauna. I appreciate it. And okay, so back to the energy. So minerals and water are the best things that you can do for your physical body. Now, the reason is because we're mostly water, right? And we know that as physical human beings, if we get dehydrated, it makes everything else wonky. Okay. The other thing is minerals. Minerals are really important. Now, I'm sure there's scientific studies with this or some kind of medical study or something. All I know is in my little, I kind of laugh about being small town lady redneck. In my mind, the minerals will help keep us grounded, and minerals help all of the other things in our channels, in our nervous system work better. So just do the minerals, right? Like it's good for you. It's not going to hurt anything. Um, that being said, the energies that's coming in is nothing new, right? And this is something that I want to just make sure you guys understand. I've been talking about this for a couple of years. So there are so many resources on either YouTube or in the Facebook group, particularly on trainings on how to work with the energy, the best thing you can do for yourself, and to not be a victim of it, right? So we have to step up our self-care game and really be taking care of ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to deal with galactic energy, because the energy that's coming in is from the galaxy. So there's a lot of different reasons for this, and I don't want to backtrack and say everything I've said before. So if you haven't seen those videos, go back and look. There's plenty of support in the Facebook group and on YouTube. And as a matter of fact, on YouTube, I'm calling it the vault. So there's a lot of messages that were particularly only for the paid membership. And I'm opening those up now because some of the energy is still the same, even though I recorded it maybe 2-3 years ago. For the membership particularly, the energy is very similar right now, and the awakening that I'm seeing happening, the ascension that's happening for so many people is really relevant. And so I'm going to open up what I'm calling the vault. I made a specific playlist on YouTube for that. So definitely grab that, guys. Like well, not grab it. You just have to go to YouTube and listen, right? So just go into YouTube, listen to the things on the vault. There's so many different ones, and I've got them scheduled out to release every so often so that it's not just overwhelming at once. That being said, I was not surprised at all. So right before I got on this call, I decided to pull a card. I'm using Radley Valentine's Guardian Angel Messages Tarot. I haven't announced this yet, but I'm taking training with Radley Valentine. So in October, when I went to Florida, that's what I was doing. I was a certified angelic advisor. So I'm in the process of that, which is really fun. And he is super fun. So I'm using this deck because that's what I had handy. And for those of you guys that know me, yes, we're usually in an RV and we're right now in a hotel. So long story, I'll talk about that later, or drop me a message below on the comments and I'll get back to it later and explain why I'm in the camper. I think I said it the other day, but just in case, we're going to be in a hotel for a few days, few weeks, maybe. This is balance, the card that I pulled. Okay, now what's interesting about this, I've talked about balance before. And what's really important is we have to remember that the word balance is actually a verb. It's an active thing. You have to actively try to have balance in your life. Now, what that looks like is going to depend on everybody in different ways and different times even throughout the day, your balance might be different. You may need to put a bunch of effort into work in the morning, and then you can put effort into something else in the afternoon. It may be that the balance is you you have to do your housework on a certain day, and then the next day is all about, taking care of your family, whatever it is. So like maybe on the day that Monday you're doing laundry, you're cleaning, you're doing all the things, that means you get takeout, right? Because you've got other things that are taking priority. It's a matter of pros and cons balance, what works for you, what's going to benefit you, what's going to help you, what's going to support you, and stop feeling guilty about whatever it is. The same thing with relationships, right? Sometimes the balance is right now, today, I'm carrying 98% because I need to do that because they're having a bad day. Then the balance comes a few days later when you need them to carry the 98%. So it's not always 50-50, and it's not even always 100-100, right? Like we've got to be able to, gosh, what my guides are saying right now is we've got to be able to be in that space of, well, forgiveness is honestly what's coming through. So we've got to be in the space of forgiveness, forgiving ourselves for not being perfect. Okay. This goes into perfectionism, which I've spoken to so many different times. But we have to let go of that paradigm of perfection, which is crumbling. And I think that's a really good thing. People are starting to see that we don't have to be perfect to be valuable. We don't have to be perfect to be beneficial. We don't have to be perfect to help others, right? Like that's another thing in the coaching industry. One of the things that I've seen is people not they're letting their own fear of perfectionism hold them back from really stepping into the work that they're called to do. So if that's you, I encourage you. You don't have to be perfect. You're here, you're in divine timing on whatever's happening in your life. Trust yourself, nurture yourself, and allow yourself to just be in whatever it is. Now, that's bringing me back up to balance when it comes to emotions. Okay, so what my guides are saying now, I'm just going to let the rest of this channel because my guides are like, here we are. We've got some things to talk about. I thought this was going to be a really quick little video. So don't know how long this is going to be, but bear with me because it will be powerful, I can tell. So, balance when it comes to emotions, what my guides are saying right now is, and I've spoken on this before too, but one of the things that's really important is to not bypass emotions. So I've talked about this before. I've called it spiritual bypassing. Okay. So one of the things when it comes to spiritual bypassing, I think what happens is there's misconception that if you're spiritual, if you're in this line of work, if you're a healer, if you're a reader, a tarot reader, angel card reader, any of the kind of spiritual things, that you have to be happy all the flipping time. Not realistic. Just going to lay it out there. It is not realistic to be happy, sunshine, unicorns, and rainbow farts all the time. It just isn't going to be that way. So the way that you can be in the moment and to have balance in your life and in your emotions is understanding how to process emotions that come up. And that doesn't mean just processing the happy emotions. That means processing the not so happy emotions, but also being aware of what are the happy emotions that you're maybe repressing, right? Because it kind of goes all different ways. And there's been so much growth and so much work in the last few years. One of the things that I've noticed with my clients is they've done all the shadow work. They've done all the yucky, this doesn't feel good, I don't feel good enough. They've done all of that work. And they're like, what else do I have to process? Like, what else is there to show up? Well, maybe it's the opposite end of the spectrum now. Maybe you're actually being asked to stop repressing the higher emotions, right? Now, it could still be the lower emotions. And it's not like just because you've processed some and you've done the shadow work that it's never going to come up again. It will, because we're in the human experience and it's like a cycle. Like my guides have said this for years. It's like a spiral staircase. Okay. So you may be going through similar emotions, you may be having a similar experience, but maybe this time what's showing up isn't as devastating, right? So when you first started the shadow work, it was really hard and you had to really get in there. But now maybe it's the next level and you're like, oh, last time I circled around with these emotions, I felt XYZ. Now I see I don't feel that same like intensity, but I still feel there's some trigger. I still feel there's something there to work with and to heal. Go into that, right? But if you're like, I don't want to feel these negative emotions, I don't want to feel this, I don't like this, you're actually bypassing. And it sounds crazy because I'm not saying, like, if you dive into that, do so from a place of empowerment where you've got a backup plan. Like, don't go into the dark abyss of the dark night of the soul without letting somebody know what you're going through, without, like, I remember one time going through, I had a really triggering thing that came up and I was really in it, right? Like, in the shadow work, I was in it, and it was miserable, and it was like a couple days of just shit. Let's just be honest, right? It was just a really hard day. So I called my girlfriend and I'm like, look, I am in it. I'm depressed. I'm channeling. I'm meditating. I'm sleeping. I'm doing my best to just feel it and process it through. If you haven't heard from me, like by tomorrow at 2 o'clock, please call me. Make sure to get my ass out of bed and make myself get up and get going. Right. So if you're in that, it looks like my Wi-Fi is not working. Hopefully it's still going to go through, guys. We'll see. Um, if you're in that, like, be sure to have somebody to help work you through it, right? But don't bypass it, right? The other thing that's coming up that I'm feeling right now is resistance, because some people are like, nope, I already done that work. I'm not going to work on it anymore. Okay, then you're probably resisting something. There's something that you don't want to see. Okay. And it's just with anything, you guys, you've heard the whole saying of what you resist persists. It's so true. Whatever you're fighting against. And I think this is what the paradigm is for 2023. Because one of the things my guide said last week was the next year is going to be all about grace, ease, and abundance if you allow it. So if you're fighting against life in whichever way that's showing up for you, whether that's emotions or the situation that you're in or the job that you're in, whatever you're resisting, whatever you don't want, the more adamant you are that you don't want it, and that's what you're focusing on, the more it's going to show up. So, for example, if you don't want to be in this job anymore, what would you like to have? Start focusing, instead of saying, I'm sick of this job. I can't be here anymore. I don't want this. I can't do it. All you're going to do is make yourself miserable, but you're still going to have to go to work. Right. So instead of that, start focusing on, what would I like to have as a job? How would I like that to look? What hours would I like to work? And start being open to, I can't wait until I have this job. I'm so excited that this is manifesting for me, right? But you have to be in a space of, instead of fighting against what you don't want, open up the possibility of the perfect job coming in. Like, all of a sudden, somebody said this person was hiring and that person was taking applications, and or that place or this place or that person knew of somebody. Allow the possibility to come in, because if we can be in that divine alignment, it's going to be a lot easier. And again, it comes back to balance, right? It's not always going to be perfect. There's going to be times, it shows the cups, like, let me see. So see how she's pouring. I don't know if you can see it on there with this lighting in here. So she's pouring, oh, there we go. She's pouring from one cup into the other, and then you pour from that cup back into the other one, right? It's almost like a slinky. You have to keep moving it back and forth to be able to keep it balanced, right? So imagine a slinky in your hands. That's how life is, and that's how it's supposed to be. So try not to judge if you feel out of balance, but just be like, okay, well, that felt a little bit wonky. How can I adjust and make it feel a little bit more balanced? But any way that you look at it, whether it's a slinky or a balance beam, you have to have the active effort to be in balance. So again, you guys, super excited about the 12 days of Christmas. That's kind of why I came on, but then I felt like my guides wanted me to talk about some things and wanted me to pull a card. So we did that. But get on my email list, because I'm telling you, the things that are coming through, it's going to be all about abundance, a little bit law of attraction, a little bit law of assumption. There's so many good things on there. So if you're not on my email list already, I would say go get on my email list. You will not regret it. It's going to be amazing on the 12 days of Christmas. So sending you guys lots of love. If you have any questions, drop them below, and I will try to get back to everybody in a timely manner. So see you guys. I don't remember how to stop it. Oh, this is too funny. Oh, here we go. I found it. Bye, everybody.